Hello everybody, today I'll be talking about a few brands that I currently am not buying items from. These are brands that I may or may not like for different reasons, but for whatever reason I am just not buying their products. I'm going to be outlining those brands in this video. There are 5 of them, and I would say that this is pretty on brand for my anti-consumerism content that I usually publish. I like to do a lot of that, as many of you know. With that being said, let's just launch into the first category and talk about the first brand that I haven't bought anything from in a very long time, and that would be Too Faced. Now, I have made my opinions on Too Faced relatively vocal on this channel. I just don't like them because of the drama that surrounds them, but it actually goes a little bit deeper than that as well. For a long time, I just wasn't interested in buying anything from Too Faced simply because of the fact that they just didn't inspire me as a brand. I felt like they were relying a lot on their aesthetic and their packaging more so than their actual formulations. And when it comes to brands like that, I call them gimmicky brands, regardless of whether or not they're actually gimmicky. But whenever I get the gimmicky vibe, I'm just not interested in getting a product from that brand. Inevitably, Too Faced does fall into this category because they have a lot of things that just simply do not inspire me, so I'm not necessarily interested in getting those items. And it's kind of interesting too. I feel like Too Faced is actually one of those brands that's easy to cancel for me personally because I'm just not interested in what they have to offer. I mean, the one thing that I have from them, well, I have a few things, but the one thing that I have in front of me would be the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer, and that's it. Like, I have like a few lip items, and I think that's all I have from them. And the lip items that I got are like minis that I got in sets, and that's pretty much it. I'm just not interested in getting anything from Too Faced in general, and that's why I haven't bought anything from them in a very long time. The next brand that I want to talk about is actually completely different from Too Faced. I just haven't bought anything from them in a little while because of a few reasons. The brand that I'm about to mention is Anastasia Beverly Hills, and you're probably wondering, why is she saying that about Anastasia Beverly Hills? They're amazing. Well, in my personal opinion, Anastasia Beverly Hills caters towards a very specific type of customer, which has grown very, I would say, very multidimensional as the brand has expanded to encompass the Norvina line as well. So they have generally changed up their aesthetic a lot, which I applaud. However, at the same time, I feel like there comes a time when you have so many items in your collection from one particular brand, that brand loses the novelty for you. I don't know if anybody else feels that way. That's just the way I feel. But I definitely feel like there's so many brands that I have in my collection. And if I have like more than 5 items from that brand in my personal makeup collection, I find myself uninspired by that brand simply because I already have items from it. So Anastasia Beverly Hills does fall into that category. I do like the aesthetic. I like their Instagram account. I like what they're doing. But do I like anything from them enough to actually want to get it? No, not really. And anything that I do like, I end up talking myself out of it because if I'm being completely honest, I'm just not interested in anything that they have to offer. And it's not necessarily because of the products themselves, it's just that I have so many items from them in general. They've just lost their appeal for me temporarily. Moving on, though, let's talk about Sigma. Now, Sigma is actually one item on this list, or one brand on this list, that I just have never tried anything from. And when it comes to Sigma, in my mind, if I was going to try anything from them, it would be their brushes. But coincidentally, right now, at this very moment, I have enough brushes to satisfy me to not get any more. So I'm not necessarily interested in getting any more brushes. When it comes to their makeup, I'm not necessarily interested in getting anything in that category either. So Sigma in general is just unappealing to me as a brand, not because of their morals or their ethics or anything of that nature. It's just because the actual products that they produce, it's just not something that's piquing my interest, and as a result I just haven't ever bought anything from them. And yes, they're pretty much the only brand on this list that I've never bought anything from because I've just never been inspired by them enough to actually put down money for an item, and as a result I haven't bought anything from them in a very long time and or ever. But moving on, let's talk about MAC Cosmetics. Now, I have about 3 items from MAC. I have 2 lipsticks and 1 spray. And all things considered, those 3 items are things that I really enjoy, really use. I really like them. Those lipsticks are amazing. The spray is a spray. I don't really use it that often, but whenever I do use it, I find myself enjoying it. But for some reason, MAC Cosmetics is just unappealing to me, and I think it's because it's uninspiring. In my mind, MAC Cosmetics is like this bare bones, makeup artist centered aesthetic kind of brand. And as somebody who considers oneself a makeup lover and not necessarily a makeup artist by profession, I don't necessarily look for new makeup in that sort of like bare bones aesthetic, if you will. I want something that inspires me. I want something that piques my interest, and not and MAC Cosmetics, for better or for worse, they just haven't necessarily done that for me. And they have had a lot of just different collections in the past, and that just adds to the unappeal for me when it comes to MAC Cosmetics, because I personally look for permanence when it comes to something that I'm buying. I'm not necessarily interested in getting anything that's going to be limited edition, simply because I know that if I end up liking that item, it'll be gone soon and it'll be all a waste. So whenever I do end up, getting something, I want it to be like more of a permanent item. And with MAC Cosmetics, I feel like for such a long time they've been promoting their limited edition collections. I've sort of become desensitized to anything that they're coming out with. So as a result, I haven't bought anything from them in years. But let's talk about now another brand that is a little bit more inexpensive. And this is actually a brand that I do feel like I want to end up purchasing a few items from them in the future, just not at the moment because honestly I don't really feel like it. But this brand is Beige Cosmetics. Now, I think there's like this makeup artist I follow on YouTube. I love her. Her name is Alex. I think she's Alexandra Anil. Her name is Alex. I'll put her channel on the screen right now. I love her videos. I just love her personality. She is so real, and her makeup education videos are absolutely must watches. I learned so much from her. So she actually really recommends Beige Cosmetics as a brand, which is, I think, very indicative, I think, of Beige Cosmetics quality, because if you don't know Alex, she actually does a lot of campaign imagery for Pat McGrath Labs, the Pat McGrath Labs. So she knows good quality makeup when she sees it. And if she recommends BH Cosmetics as much as she already does, I kind of view BH Cosmetics as a force to be reckoned with, and I'm actually interested in getting something from them in the future. There are actually items that they actually have come out with quite recently that I'm very interested in perhaps purchasing myself. But as with all good things when it comes to makeup, I can sort of wait until the time that I feel like it's right to get an item. I don't necessarily need to get everything that's on the market right now. I feel like I can wait a little bit for items that I really want, and sort of use that time to encourage myself to shop my own stash and see what I have to offer in my own makeup collection. So I'm not going to be getting anything from them in the near future, but I do see myself getting something from them at some point. And of course, I've just really been looking at them quite favorably because largely of Alex's praise towards Beige Cosmetics. So with that being said, those are all the brands that I actually haven't bought anything from in a really long time, just brands that I don't buy from right at this moment. Of course, this might change. I mean, for some of these brands, I don't think it'll ever change. But regardless, I do hope you enjoyed this video and found it interesting. I love doing an anti-consumerism video every now and then. Well, I love doing them all the time, but thank you so much for watching till the end, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.